So first we look at how to do this division question here. So 6 plus 4 divided by 2. We have two solutions. We can either follow the order of operation. We add 6 and 4 and then divide. By the way, although division should go before addition, the format automatically assumes the top and the bottom are inside parentheses. So we will always work out what's in the top and what's in the bottom first. So even though they didn't put parentheses, because the top and the bottom, they are separated, so the parentheses are not needed, but you have to treat them as they are in parentheses. So 6 plus 4, please, parentheses has a high priority than multiplication or division. So we're going to add 6 and 4 to get 10, and then we divide 10 by 2 to get 5. There is another option. So we actually could divide 6 by 2 and then 4 by 2. Now this makes sense because we can add in the 6 and the 4 together and cut in half, but you could also cut each number by half. And so we could do half of 6 and half of 4. Now, if you look at backwards, and this is exactly how we added the fractions. When we have a common denominator, 2 and 2, we can add numerators, which is 6 plus 4. So we keep the common denominator 2 and add numerators. But now we're just reversing it. We're trying to do it backwards. So instead of adding 6 and 4 to get that, we want to change it back. So we can take half of 6, and then we can take half of 4. So that's how we got 6 over 2 plus 4 over 2. And half of 6 is 3. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and half of 4 is 2. So after we add 3 and 2, we still get 5. And notice we got exactly the same answer. And this is also kind of similar to multiplication of the when we do multiplication, if we have something times something plus something, we have a pair of parentheses or two terms, we could distribute whatever that to both of them. But this is more like something plus something in the top, and then you have a number 2 here. You could also distribute the bottom 2 to both of them. And so both solutions will give us the correct answer. Now, what if I add A after 6 and B after 4? Now, in this case, the first option will not work because the first option requires us to simplify the top, 6 plus 4 to get 10, but 6A plus 4B cannot be simplified because they're not like terms. Imagine A think of A as apples and B as bananas. So 6 apples plus 4 bananas, we cannot add them. But divide by 2, which means we want to divide both of them. So again, the top, although we didn't have parentheses, but you can think of them as inside a pair of parentheses. So it's kind of like we have 6 apples and 4 bananas inside a box. And we do the operation divide by 2. The operation divide by 2, it's like cut everything in half. So since we cannot add 6 apples and 4 bananas to get 10 of something, we will just cut the number of apples by half and then a number of bananas, 4 bananas by half. So that will give us 3 apples because 6 divided by 2 is 3 and A stay as apples, and 4 divided by 2 is 2 and B stay as bananas. So when we have variables in division, because we cannot combine them, we will have to use the second option to divide them separately. So we divide the first item of the top by 2 and divide the second item in the box by 2, the top by 2, and to get the answer. And the 3A plus 4B, 3 apples and 2 plus 2 bananas cannot be added, so we just leave them because they are not like terms. So now we can look at an example. And in this example, we have also the same thing. So again, the top, there are 2 items, and you can think of them as inside a box. And this is the first item, let me highlight the first item. This is the first item. And we have the second item, and right here, I guess second item. Okay, so we are gonna have to, because these two items cannot be combined, because one of these are not like terms. One of these is x to the 6th, the other is x to the 5th. So we are gonna have to divide the top, each of the items by the bottom. So we're gonna do two divisions. So divide the first item by the bottom. And then we divide the second item by the bottom. So which gives us, so divide these, divide these two by the bottom and this one by the bottom. So we're going to get these two division questions. And we already talked about how to do divisions in a previous video. And so when we do division, we divide the number by number. Negative 28 divided by negative 4 is 7. And x6 divided by x third, we subtract the exponents. So we have a formula, exponent rule, because we literally cross out 3 x's from the top 6. So 6 minus 3 gives us 3. And the second case, we have 32 divided by negative 4. Or if you want, you can put this minus sign together with 32. So it's negative 32 divided by negative 4. That gives us positive 8. But if you did the other way, say what I did was 38 divided by negative 4, I got negative 8. But because there's another minus sign here, so when you put another minus sign in front of negative 8, that will still turn that into a positive 8. So it might be quicker to treat this minus sign together with 32. Again, when we did this right here, when we divide the first item by the bottom. The second item, you could leave the minus sign by itself, just divide the expression by the bottom, and then you have to put a minus back, like I did here, put that back. Or actually be quicker if you treat the minus sign together with 32x third, fifth. So you're going to divide, so this is the item 1. We actually call it a first term instead of item. So mathematical terminology is first term and the second term. You can think of them as items. So the second item divided by the bottom, you could do negative 32 x fifth divided by negative 4x third, and which gives you positive 8. And exponents 5 minus 3, that gives us 2. So you can put them together to get 7x third plus 8x squared. Now next, let's look at this example here. We have, again, the same thing. The first item, negative 35, a to the 5th, and the second item. So we're going to divide each of them by the bottom. And then the first one, we divide the number by number. That gives us 7, a third. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Two negatives make positive. And a fifth divided by a squared, we subtract the exponents, 5 minus 2, we get a to the third. And for the second part, the same thing. So we can treat minus sign, think of minus sign as being in front of 20. So it's negative 20 divided by, so we're doing negative 28 third, the second item, divided by the bottom. So that gives us positive 4, and 3 minus 2 gives us 1. That 1 can be omitted. So 4a here. Now the next example, so we have our first item, negative 30x4y third. And second item, this time it's positive, so positive 20x fifth y fourth. So first of all, you have to take the first item, first term, and the second term, and take each of them divided by the same bottom. Now, when we divide them number by number, variable by variable, so we have to do 6 divisions. Negative 30 divided by negative 5 is 6, positive 6. And x fourth divided by x fourth. And remember, you either can use the formula to get 4 minus 4, that's x to 0, but x to the 0 is 1. The quick way is they can just be canceled out, because anything divided by itself, they cancel out. So x4 cancels x4. y third also cancels y third. You're going to you actually get 1, but the 1 can be omitted because we're doing multiplication here. So you will have 6 times 1 times 1. So all these 1s will be gone. Okay, now on right here, we're going to do the same thing here. 20 divided by negative 5, that gives us that 20 divided by negative 5, that gives us negative 4, which is right here. And x fifth divided by x fourth, we apply the formula. 5 minus 4 is 1, and that 1 can be omitted. And finally, x4 divided by y4 divided by y third. So that also 4 minus 3 gives us 1. And the 1 can be omitted. So that's how we get the answer. Again, the 6 just comes from negative 30 divided by negative 5. And all the x's and y's are canceled out. And they're supposed to have times 1 times 1, but 6 times 1 times 1 is also 6. And because these are not like terms, and be careful, we cannot subtract 6 and 4 because they are not like terms. 6 is just the number 6, but this one it's not a number 4, it's 4xy. So you have 1xy, 2xy, 3xy, 4xy. So if you have xy's and the number 6, they cannot be subtracted. Just like if you subtract 4 apples from $6, you cannot do that. $6 minus 4 apples, we cannot do subtraction because dollars and apples, they're not the same thing. They're mathematically, we say they're not like terms.